my name is Sarah and this video is kind of personal. This is how my year's been. I decided to talk to you about this because I feel like everyone now at home is kind of feeling anxious about stuff and like what's gonna happen, when is this gonna finish. So I decided to share my story of the past year and a half with you because I want to think that it can maybe calm you down because after hearing this you'll know that everything's gonna be fine. Our story starts when the Fire Nation attacked, no I'm kidding, a year and a half ago when I decided to go to Europe and I actually didn't have the money, so it occurred to me to just sell some candy and snacks at school, which really worked because I saved enough, and by January I had already bought all my tickets for Europe and everything was flowers and rainbows. Now I used to live in Mexico City and this is important for the story. So my mom lost her job in January, some crazy times, and I couldn't just cancel Europe because all the tickets were already bought and it would mean just losing money. So my mom started looking for another job and that's when she found out that Mexican consulate in California was needing someone. It was a crazy idea. Like when I heard it, I was like, yeah sure, like me living in California, yeah right. So my mom got the job and we started planning our move here, which was crazy because I never expected the States to like be how it is and stuff. I mean, I'm not complaining, I really like it here, but at the same time it's like everything they do was different from the way we do it in Mexico. So anyways, back to the story. It's April and apparently I'm moving to California starting August and I was going to Europe on June, which was gonna be a little complicated. The plan was for me to go to Europe, be the 2 months that I planned on being there in the first place, and then instead of returning home to Mexico City, I was to fly to California, returning to who knows where, which was a little crazy. Being in Europe, I just didn't know. Like, people asked me, oh, where do you live? And I was like, I mean, I used to live in Mexico City, but I don't have a home then now, so what do I say now? And I didn't know where I was gonna go after Europe. I was feeling so anxious. Sometimes I would just think, where am I going? What if I don't find like a home in the States? And I was really getting stressed because of the differences between what I'm used to and what I was about to go into. So I was really feeling anxious because I had no idea what was going on.
How to start this video? Well, maybe by the fact that I don't even know why I'm filming this and I don't even know if I'm gonna upload it. But if you're watching it, it's maybe because I uploaded it or because you're a hacker. So please get out of my computer. So a little bit of context. Right now I'm in my cousin's apartment in Brussels. It's been an interesting time being here. I've been in Europe for the past 2 months and of course it's been amazing. But in 1 week I'm returning, or well, the original plan was that in 1 week I would be returning to Mexico, except, and here's the interesting part, I'm not going back to Mexico. In April, my mom got a job offer to work in California in the States. So she was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And one day when I arrived from school, she told me, we're probably gonna move to the States. So I'm supposed to catch up with her like in a week, but it's been really complicated. Making a life change decision is not as easy as you may think. Because you're not only leaving your friends, your home or your school, but you're also leaving that feeling of being comfortable, that feeling or certainty that you know what's gonna happen the next day, and that's something that I don't have now. Because when I go to the States, I don't even know where I'm sleeping. I want to think there's gonna be a roof over my head, but I don't know with who, or how, or when, so that's kinda... I've been feeling a little bit stressed and anxious. Now, it's been kind of a disaster trying to coordinate everything from Europe and the States, so yeah, it's just really complicated right now. For entering to like a high school in the States, you need to have like your grades from before, and then in case you want to rent a home, then you have to have like a kind of history in like a bank in the States, and it has to be like a certain time, and like my mom's gonna like get to that time, but I don't know when, so it's just been really complicated. But yeah, that's the situation. I'm planning on doing a video of my flights back because it's gonna be really crazy. So yeah, I hope by the time you see this, I'm already in the States and I have my own bedroom or my own bed or even a piece of floor. I'm not that needy. But yeah, anyways, bye!
So anyways, the plan was for me to go to Europe and then come back to California instead of going home in Mexico City. And my mom in July would drive my stuff and my dog to California, which didn't happen. So when I actually arrived from Europe to California, my dog wasn't there, and it was like, okay, don't worry, because I still had to go to Mexico to do some paperwork in like October. And the plan was to go to Mexico for about 2 weeks and get my dog and then go back to California. When I arrived in August to California, I started going to school like a normal person, and then in October I went to Mexico for 2 weeks. Then we realized that actually having my little dog here with me would be really expensive, and that in case she like got hurt or whatever, we didn't have like the money to cure her because vets are kind of expensive. It was one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made in my life, and maybe you know, maybe you don't, but my house actually burned a couple years ago, and that moment was not as difficult as letting go of my dog. So it was a really hard decision for me, but we knew that it was the best for her to just stay with a family in Mexico who could actually take care of her. So in my 2 weeks in Mexico, I not only did all my paperwork that I needed, but I also had to find a home for my dog. It wasn't so difficult because she's so cute. So after doing that, I was ready to return to the States and continue with school. I didn't know that my visa was actually gonna take 2 whole months. My 2 weeks became 2 months. 2 months that I was missing school. I mean, I was doing all the work and everything, but boy, that was crazy. It was like I've been in quarantine my whole year. Like from that moment, I was already at like my friend's house all the time. It was crazy. By December, I was able to come back to California, do my final exams, and I thought everything was gonna be fine. I didn't have my dog, but at least I was back. January went by pretty smooth. February went by pretty smooth. And then you know what happened in March. We all know what happened in March. And that's how I've spent 90% of this year inside. So my senior year became more like a senior 3-month period. I actually love getting to know how an American school was, and that's never gonna leave me because even though it was a short time, I really enjoyed it. My life has changed so much. If you asked me a year ago if I knew I was gonna be here talking to you guys in this place, in this exact moment, I wouldn't have any idea. I know how it feels just to not know, and uncertainty, it's crushing. So sometimes, even if you feel like you don't know what's happening and you start feeling anxious and you feel depressed, because it's perfectly fine to feel that way when you're not sure what's going on. I just want you to know that everything is going to be okay, and I don't mean it in that catchy way like, oh, everything's gonna be fine. Like, I really do mean it, because a year ago I was the one feeling anxious and I didn't have like the whole world backing me up, because right now we're in this together. The whole planet is on quarantine and the whole planet has a pandemic happening now. But right now, a year after that, I'm here and everything is not perfect, but everything's fine. If anything, this year has taught me that the only thing that's certain in life is that nothing is certain. Maybe this situation is not gonna pass in a year, maybe it's not gonna pass in 2 years, but it's going to pass. And one day you're gonna look back and be like, oh yeah, remember those quarantine memes? Life is gonna take your plans and make them a nice cluster of garbage and throw it away. So as I was telling you, you never know what life is gonna throw at you. Right now, my mom just arrived with a new sofa. So my word of wisdom, my word of advice is to stand up every time life throws you down. So yeah, this is it for this video. I really hope you like it. I'm trying to do these videos in English because I want to get like to as many people as possible, and I know not a lot of people speak Spanish, and that can be kind of like a language barrier. I have a lot of videos in English, so if you want to check that out, just click that nice playlist that's supposed to be somewhere there. Don't forget to check my channel for more content. I hope you're all well, and I'll send you good vibes. Bye bye!